Radio Rahim here with Max Kellerman. You know, you are the premier analyst on HBO and maybe in boxing. So what I'd like I would like to talk to you more so about the mentality of these fighters than what happened in the ring. I think that was kind of self-explanatory, but leading into this fight, both of these guys had something to prove. Alvarado maybe even more so because he felt like he had finally come to a place in his life when he could dedicate himself to the sport, and he was going to be better than he ever had been. What do you think happened in there? Did his ability not catch up with him like his life did?
Meaning, why did he lose?
Yeah, why was he able to be
as good as Marquez? I mean, Marquez comes in as the prohibitive favorite because he's a different class of fighter than Alvarado. Alvarado came in with chances based on his youth if he wasn't beaten to an old age by Rios and Provodnikov and Prescott and other tough fights even that he won. And his length and his ability to box a little from the outside, brawl on the inside. He could punch. So he had chances. But how much chance did he have when the ticker that he has, the heart that he has that enables him to do those things when the going gets rough was, potentially compromised by the fact that he was broken against Provodnikov. I mean, Provodnikov said before that fight, this is not going to be about technique. It's going to be about who's going to break whom. It's going to be an imposition of will. And Alvarado had, Provodnikov broke him. So was he going to come back a broken fighter or a whole fighter? He had better preparation for this fight, I think, than he had against Provodnikov. You could see it in the fighter meeting yesterday. You could see even a fighter's skin as they're drying out to make weight, what it looks like, how rough it was to get there. He looked healthy. He looked like he wasn't killing himself to make weight. By all accounts, he had a training camp this time as opposed to kind of whatever the preparation was for Provodnikov. And so all those things were in place, but we knew he'd be outclassed. And the question was, when that was happening, could he still go to that place where he just starts to impose himself, where he makes it a fight and gives himself chances because he's so tough? And we saw that he does, and I'm happy for him for that he was able to go from making it a competitive fight where he just couldn't win and he gets dropped and stopped maybe, to a fight where, no, he picked himself up off the canvas and came back to knock down the great Juan Manuel Marquez and hurt him a couple times after that and make it a fight that, while, yes, you lost by a wide margin, it's a fight that we'll remember. We'll always remember, hey, remember Marquez and Alvarado? Oh, yeah, that was a great fight. I went to the forum and saw that fight. Saw it on HBO. It was that kind of fight.
Turning to Marquez, he's a 40-year-old guy. It seemed like he was taking a lull before the Pacquiao fight, like aging as most fighters would. What do you credit the rejuvenation of Marquez with? He was faster, he outpaced a younger guy, he seems stronger than ever. How does a guy do that?
I'm always highly cynical when I see a guy get faster as he gets older. And we live in a time where even before you get to association with people who have been caught up in scandals involving PEDs, even before then, there's always that cloud of suspicion with a modern athlete who performs well and maybe differently as he gets to an advanced athletic age. There's always that suspicion. And that is certainly followed Marquez in recent years, particularly after the Pacquiao fight.
And lastly, Max, obviously this is a possible precursor to Pacquiao Marquez 5. Half people say they want to see it, can't wait. The other half say, are you kidding me? Do you want to see it? And how do you see that matchup playing out, considering everything that you just said?
Look, would we rather see Mayweather and Pacquiao? Yeah. Are there other fights I'd rather see? Yes. But that fight has never been less than excellent. Have you ever seen a Marquez-Pacquiao fight that wasn't excellent? So why would we expect it to not be excellent again? And part of the fatigue, I think, with that series was the first three. We know how this goes. Pacquiao starts fast, he drops Marquez, Marquez gets up, weathers the storm, outboxes Pacquiao the rest of the way. The fight ends in a close controversial decision, and maybe one of these days Marquez would get the decision. But the ending of that fight changes that now. Now suddenly we said, no, well, you don't know how this is going to end, let alone know who's going to win. So it has everything going for it, a Marquez-Pacquiao 5 that the first 4 did, and that was a lot because they were all excellent fights, tactically, strategically, in terms of the action produced, the drama, the shifts in momentum. But now the ending is also unpredictable. Really, how could you complain about that fight?
In the time between that Pacquiao-Marquez 4, with what you've seen from each respective fighter, have either one of them made adjustments or improvements, done anything to make you think that they've edged the other one out for sure this time? They're going to get in there and be a little bit different, a little bit better, a little bit something that's going to make it different.
It's going to be the same old Pacquiao and Marquez, which is to say a great fight, and now with an unpredictable ending. Pacquiao, I thought, looked really good against Tim Bradley. I know I heard Mayweather make comments that I agree with. It was amateurish and sloppy, especially of Bradley at times. He's right about that, but I think the bigger picture with that fight early on especially is that Bradley had to show Pacquiao that he's a young, strong fighter who's going to take it to him, you know, who could try to hurt him. And Pacquiao weathered that storm. He got shook up by Bradley. I mean, even though they were wild roundhouse punches, it can happen. Look, we saw Mayweather get hurt with some wild roundhouse punches against Maidana. They didn't always look like the textbook shots. Sometimes those shots are harder to get away from than more textbook shots because they're coming from unusual places. But then Pacquiao changed the fight, totally dominated the second half. And, you know, when you see a top young or in his prime fighter like Bradley come out determined, have success early, and wind up totally dominated, it says very good things about the opponent, in this case, Pacquiao.
Thank you, Max Kellerman. I appreciate the time. I know it's been a long night. Radio Rahim with Max Kellerman.